Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about how to plan and slay your semester for uni, and I'm going to give you 4 ways you can plan for uni to set yourself up for success, so stay tuned. The first tip I can give you is that you should look at your studying as a whole thing, not just your upcoming semester, to make sure you know what you have to do, in what order you have to do it, and if there's any requirements, for example, that you have to do this class before you can do this class and stuff like that. Once you know that, you can make yourself a little plan and just write down in what order you have to do something. For me, there's also another part. For example, we have these ECTS, that's because I'm Europe-based. So those are kind of points where you know how much you have to do for your whole studying. Meaning which is the case for most bachelor degrees, you have to do 180 ECTS points. Then you know, if you want to finish in 3 years, you have to do 60 ECTS points every year and 30 every semester. So if you know that, you can plan accordingly and you can say, okay, so I have to do this and that much in the first semester, this and that much in the second. And then you have to look at the requirements. Sometimes you can't do what you want to do, but you have to take this or that class first. In that case, make sure that you start those classes early enough and you make them your priorities so that later on you don't get stuck because you don't have this or that requirement. Once you have that, we get into planning tip number 2. Plan your semester. So once you know what you have to do in this semester, for example, then you can look ahead and look at your classes. If you have options, that's great. If not, you can't help it anyway. But if you have options and maybe you have a job or something you have to work around, make sure to register in advance as early as possible to set the most points to those classes that are the most important, and make sure you pick times that work with your job. If there is even the slightest chance that you might have to change your work schedule because of uni or college, make sure to let your boss know. They're really pissed off if you only tell them like last minute, and it's just nice if you tell them ahead of time because they can figure out their stuff and you're both happy. Usually they do understand. Make sure to note the deadlines for any upcoming exams or something if you have to register for those as well. Of course, mark any exams or essay due dates or whatever you have. And lastly, set priorities for your classes. Which class is the most important this semester? Which one should you focus on the most? For example, it's very, very important, or it's very hard, or that's what I usually focus on. Is it a requirement for an upcoming class? So usually if you have like 3 classes you take, one is really important, one is semi-important, and one is just some extracurricular stuff, then focus not on the extracurricular activity thing, because that's not gonna get you ahead. Of course, you have to do something for it, but don't forget about the stuff that's really important. Focus and set priorities. Which one is your important one? Once you have set your priority, that leads us to 3. Plan your week. Planning your week. Now you know what lectures you have, what classes you have to go to, you know all your due dates, and you know your priority. Now you can just note that all down in your planner and you know when it is. But now it comes to planning every single week. What I recommend is setting aside some time to work on stuff for your lectures, meaning homework time. I would call it different, call it uni work time or whatever. But it's basically like homework. What I like to do is before class to take, depending on how much it is, but usually around an hour, just to revisit what you did last week and look ahead at what you're going to do this week. For example, if my class is on Monday and it is around noon, then I will look over the stuff at Monday morning, so it's still fresh in my mind. Set aside an hour or so for every lecture that you have. If you have an early morning lecture, do it the evening before. Then I would also set aside time for doing anything like essays, working on speeches that you have to give, or if you do have to write like a bigger essay kind of thing, go ahead and set aside time for that as well. For example, if you have lectures Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then say, okay, on Thursday I'm gonna spend X amount of hours to write, practice speaking, do whatever is necessary. Make this a priority. Write it down and treat it like it's a class that you have to go to. Don't postpone it and say, oh, I'm gonna just do it tomorrow, because I can always do it tomorrow, and then you'll never get it done. Make sure it is your priority and you actually stick to it. If necessary, and that is the fourth tip, you can also go into daily planning. Usually you might not need this, but if you are in a uni system, which we have some of these here, where you have a schedule where you're at uni or college the whole day or a lot of the day, and you have several lectures and classes a day, and not just one or two, but like a lot, like from 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever. And those are not always the same, but they change, and you have to go to different rooms, maybe even different buildings. Make sure that you do some daily planning and make sure that you know where you have to go, where you have to be, and what you have to get done for all these things, what you have to bring, stuff like that. But that's just not necessary for everybody. Usually the weekly planning is enough, but if you are in a special kind of system like this, or in your country, uni works like that, then that's what you should do as well. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. That would really help me out. And please make sure you don't forget to subscribe. Right down here, click the red button and the little bell so you don't miss out on any of my new upcoming videos.